The snowy streets of Manhattan are hardly the place you'd expect to find one of country music's most compelling songwriters and performers. But Rosanne Cash is far from your typical country artist. Even so, her intelligent and extremely personal songs draw very diverse audiences. Since her stunning debut 18 years ago, she's won a Grammy and released several gold albums. She tells me that a new album is soon to be released, and she's written a book of fiction. But as the eldest daughter of American country music legend Johnny Cash, Rosanne's success has not come easy.
We're blinded by the beauty in our own lives. I was taking all I could get. For 5 or 6 hours in the month of July. The summer I read Colorado.
I love that.
It's about sexual liberation through great literature. Now that is one of your classic themes in country music.
Throughout her career, Rosanne's songs have reflected her deepest feelings. Feelings about her own insecurities, her relationships with her family, her 3 daughters, and with the men in her life. Like other serious writers, writing isn't just something Rosanne enjoys doing. It's something she has to do.
I could not do it. It's like when Martha Graham was teaching, a young dancer came up to Martha Graham and said, "Miss Graham, do you think I should be a dancer?" And Miss Graham said, "If you have to ask, the answer is no." So that's how I feel about it. It's not a job or a career that at some point I'm going to retire from. It's the same as my skin, you know? It's just what I am.
Recently, she's turned her pen toward fiction. Bodies of Water is a collection of stories available next week. This is something you've always wanted to do. Why now?
I was pretty caught up in my other career before now. It's not new to me. In fact, I've been writing fiction since college. That's kind of what I focused on when I was in college. It was so liberating not to have to worry about melody and meter and, you know, rhyme schemes. Although there is melody and rhyme in this prose, I think.
When you hear the name Rosanne Cash, automatically, Johnny Cash. Grew up country music, but you said country music was not your influence, that it was the Beatles.
Well, did I say it wasn't my influence? I said a lot of things when I was young and arrogant. Of course it was an influence. I mean, my mother listened to Marty Robbins, you know, nonstop, and my dad's music went in by osmosis, and all the people that they listened to. But, you know, as a young girl and as a teenager, I consciously rejected it, of course. And the Beatles I was obsessed with. And all of the other, you know, Traffic, Blind Faith, Crosby, Stills and Nash, all of the other national folk rock things that were going on, Joni Mitchell. So there was quite a bag of influences then.
Love is a burning thing.
Her father spent most of his time on the road and developed a serious amphetamine and alcohol addiction. When Rosanne was 11, Johnny and her mother, Vivian, divorced. Rosanne decided success was just something that ruins marriages and makes you miserable. Still, after high school, Rosanne toured with Johnny for 3 years.
I wanted to travel. He was looking for a way to take us and write it off his taxes. So he says, "Okay, you girls are laundry mistresses."
Would you go to the laundromat or do it in the tub?
Tub.
So how did you all get on stage doing backup?
Oh, it was, gosh. We would be riding around on the bus, and they would we're working up a new song, and we started singing with them, and they said, "Why don't you girls just come out and sing that little part on mic," you know, and then it turned into really singing with them. I never really wanted to do it, I don't think. Looking back, it just seemed that it happened unconsciously. And the wind goes round, round.
Rosanne was anxious to establish her own identity, and she eventually teamed up with country star and soon-to-be husband, Rodney Crowell. They recorded one critically acclaimed album after another, but Rosanne's insecurities about her appearance and her talent contributed to intense stage fright that she eventually learned to control.
I had terrible stage fright. It just was a miserable experience to do it. Once I was out there, you know, then something could happen and I would end up having a good time and end up hopefully channeling something beyond my own anxiety. But that's gotten much, much less. I mean, I still...
How did you overcome it? I mean...
Oh, somebody told me once several years ago, she said, the only difference between fear and anticipation is breathing. So I just took that to heart. That helped quite a bit.
Rosanne's marriage to Rodney Crowell couldn't survive the pressures that come with being a two-star family and long periods on the road. Her pain was put on display in an album she wrote and produced, the Grammy-nominated Interiors. In 1992, after 13 years together, Rosanne and Rodney divorced. Free of her tumultuous marriage, Rosanne's music took on a new optimism. In 1993, she collaborated with guitarist-producer John Leventhal to record The Wheel. And in 1995, Rosanne and John were married.
John and I are very, very different. So that even though sometimes we collaborate, we bring completely different things to it. And he's very sensible, you know. He doesn't fly off on a lot of emotional tangents. He's very rational and grounded, and he's a wonderful artist. It's a combination I haven't found too often, but it works for me.
Rosanne and I have at least one thing in common, teenage daughters. And before the interview, we swapped stories about the joys of motherhood.
Your self-esteem gets chipped away because they're constantly telling you how stupid you are.
That's true. I just wanted to touch base.
When I want to talk to her, she's like, stop nagging me.
Or if it's annoying.
Yeah, you
That's
are.
Claire's favorite snag.
Caitlin says that too.
Yeah.
You are so annoying, Mom.
Despite the teenage phase, Rosanne says her daughters bring her joy. But before motherhood, she battled depression and the demons of insecurity. And at the same time, she became addicted to cocaine. She's overcome that problem. How are you going to deal with it with your girls?
I just talk to them. You know, I just talk to them really honestly, saying, look, there's no glamour in this, in drugs. Trust me. It's not going to make you more creative. It's not going to give you some fabulous image as an artist, if that's what you want to do. It's not going to make you cool. It's just going to make you shut down and miserable.
You know what I found fascinating? Is that when you got pregnant, you dropped it.
Well, some instincts are stronger than addiction, you know. I mean, the instinct to protect a child, I think, overrides just about anything. That was the summer, the fall of the spring.
And you can't help but wonder how much of her new album is dedicated to her girls. Rosanne's 10-song demo is filled with the wisdom of a woman who's just turned 40.
I was very conscious that the second half of my life was about to begin, and that a lot of things that I had held on to as a young woman needed to be jettisoned.
What are some of the things you jettisoned?
Caring about what people thought of me so much. You know, kind of falling into a sense of my own authority about my life instead of looking to outside authority. Buying into other people's rhythms and ideals and values and really settling into what mine were.
But not only that, the price of temptation, the mention of God as woman in many of the cuts. What's that about?
Well, what's it about? I mean, personally for me, I pray to a female God, so it's just part of my own spiritual setup. But, you know, I have daughters too, and having daughters, you have a daughter, so you know, having daughters makes you just embrace that femininity and that little budding womanhood, you know. And I figure out if I've got daughters, then God must be a woman.
With what seems like a second chance, someone must be listening to Rosanne Cash's prayers, and the public can see some of the fruit of her new life in her work.
It's about who we are 40 on up, you know, who I am past 40. Not the same person I was at 28.
When she gets tired of words, Rosanne says she turns to pictures. She painted the jacket art on her new book, Bodies of Water.
When Monica comes